What's up everyone, this is Tranquil Toys, back with another review. This time I'm taking a look at the new Masters of the Universe Slush head figure. Now this is not a character I'm very familiar with, but when I saw this figure go up for pre-order, I thought he looked fun to play with. He also looks menacing, and he just looks like a cool character. I don't know anything about him, except from the writing on the back of the box that he came in. So there's the writing on the back of the package. It says some interesting things. It says that his comrades are notorious for their ruthlessness in combat. The simple slush head enters battle with what can only be described as childish glee. So you know this guy is sick in the head. You know he's messed up. He enters into battle with childish glee. But anyway, I don't want this video to drag on for too long, so let's take a look at the figure. First, I'm going to take off all the accessories, and then we'll take a look at the base figure. So this is the base figure. Sort of an interesting design. Almost reminds me of Piccolo from Dragon Ball Z. He also reminds me of a Dragon Ball character. Like this would be a character you'd see Goku fight in a tournament or something. Yeah, but I really like the textures and the detail that's going on. The entire figure is textured, even his chest here. He's also got like reptilian skin on his shoulders, and then on his forearms right here, so that's cool. Even down on his legs, even on his back. He also got some shading on his back, so they didn't cheap out and just do the shading on the front. They also did it on the back. Then taking a closer look at the face, I like the design with the face also. He's got the dark bags under his eyes. He doesn't sleep. Now when they said that he had childish glee, why doesn't he come with like a laughing face or a smiling face? Both the heads he comes with are just like angry. So I mean, where's the childish glee at? There's some texture on his upper lip, which is a nice attention to detail. He's got bumps all over his head. Same thing goes for the second head that he comes with. It's more of a fatter face, but he's still got the same bumps on his head. Then he has like a mohawk thing, and there's just texture detail all throughout. And you got his like robotic trunks and his robotic boots. Reminds me a little bit of like Mega Man or something. And his feet, he's got the claws. I would have liked for the claws to be painted white or black or something. Even his fingernails, that would have been cool. Really impressed with how this turned out and the amount of detail that they packed into the figure. And I guess we'll go ahead and check out the articulation. Pretty much what you'd expect at this point in the Masterverse line. So his head looks up that far, and he looks down a good amount. You can also shift the head a little bit forward and back, which is nice. Not a whole lot of tilt. The shoulder joints work pretty good. Go up that far, you get the full 360. Bicep swivel works as you'd expect. Double elbows work really good, and they're smooth. And a swivel on the wrist and hinge. And then you get the upper torso joint. It does create a gap when you go back, and it does go back a decent amount. It goes forward an okay amount, could have been better. And it goes side to side, not very much, but there's a little bit of movement there. Then the lower torso joint is just a swivel, which is sort of disappointing. And this is an area where I'd like to see improvement from Masterverse. Maybe they could add a second ball joint or something. And then down to the legs. Now the legs don't kick up that far. They sort of run into the sculpt of the trunks. But you can push it a little bit further, and it does go up a little bit more. Then you have to be careful because the hip joint does sort of get stuck, and it does catch on the sculpt of the trunks. Then it sort of scuffs up the hip joint right there. What I'm planning on doing is popping the legs off and then shaving down some of that plastic right there so you can get better movement and it's not scuffing up the hip joint right there. Swivel, which works as you'd expect. Double knees work pretty good, and that also swivels, which is nice. It means you can pop it off and replace it. And he does have a hinge at the ankles. Then you can also swivel his foot all the way around. And so this is really good, base body. Good for customs. It could fit in different displays, maybe a Star Wars display, like a bounty hunter, or like I mentioned earlier, a Dragon Ball display. He's fighting Goku in the tournament, or whatever. And then of course he's going to fit with any fantasy characters or space characters. So now we can talk about his accessories. And he does come with a lot, which is nice to see, especially when it comes to hands. He comes with quite a few hands. He comes with 2 webbed hands that have the where the fingers are attached by the webbing, like ducks or something. 2 grip hands. One of them's on the figure, and again, the fingernails are not painted. I would have liked to see that. And then 2 fists. And all these hands have 4 fingers. Reminds me of the Ninja Turtles with these things, and these go on his arm. And of course, you can take it off. You can put it on another figure, make up your own custom or whatever. so that is possible to remove those. And then he has an axe, which also doubles as a blaster, so you can hold it this way and shoot it, or you can hold it this way and then, you know, axe people. And then he comes with a second head like I showed you earlier. It's sort of the fatter face, just a different look for him. And then he comes with this thing, which is sort of interesting. I guess it's some sort of tank. It says he breathes swamp water, so maybe this is where he holds all his swamp water. Just cast in the silver grayish plastic, and there's different places where you can attach this. You see the pegs right here, and then you have two holes right here, and we'll get into that later. And this is his armor that goes over his body. Now this glass, or this see-through plastic piece, is not removable. The promotional images, it did show that it was removable and you can replace it, this glass or this plastic case right here. But you can't do that on the final figure without messing up the figure. You have to heat it up, and then it is glued in there, so you sort of have to rip it off, and that risks breaking it. I don't really want to do that. Maybe I'll try and see if I can do it later, but right now I think I'm just going to leave it as it is. It doesn't really bother me that much. It is a shame though that they didn't include that with the final product. It also comes with the slush here, and it has its own movement, and this is removable, so you can just take that off and it just plugs right back in there. And there's 4 arms that you can put on this body. You can take them off too, and you can put them on these holes down here. You can put them on the back of the armor, or you can put it on this thing right here. So a lot of different options for display. And then there's 2 pegs right here, and again, you can put that on pretty much any holes that you see, like these or these holes. So again, a lot of display options and a lot of fun that you can have. And then the arms also do have 1 hinge, so just 1 point of articulation, and it's that hinge. They all have that, and of course they all swivel as well. Sort of disappointed about that. Would have liked to have seen a ball joint at the end of here, or just another point of articulation, or if they were bendy. I know a lot of people ask for, you know, like bendy arms and stuff, especially with Doc Ock. Not really a big fan of the bendy rubber. I prefer just different points of articulation, even if it's just swivel. So now we get to the fun part. So I'm going to show you how all the accessories fit and the different combinations you can do with the accessories, and of course some head swaps and customizations. So the first thing is, of course, that you can put the armor over this head. It also fits on this head. It fits nicely on both, but I've just preferred the look of this head. Now, one complaint is that you can't really move the head once it's in there, because this thing, again, is not removable. So if you want to move the head, you have to take it off, pose the head, and put the armor back on, and it just snaps in the back like that. Super easy. Then to put these things on, you just take the hand off, slide it up the bicep, and then you put the hand back on. Then I'll show you what one of the webbed hands looks like on the figure. So I think this is really cool that they added this. It just gives the figure another look. Looks a bit more menacing. Reminds me of a creature from the Black Lagoon. Then you can put his, I guess, his swamp water container backpack thing on, and that just goes on like that. You can also put it on the other way. Again, you can pretty much do whatever you want. Now he almost looks like a spider. So now it's almost like he's in a wheelchair or something. And then you can move the arms moving forward. I think this is kind of like the more traditional look. You know, he can attack you with his regular hands, or he can hit you with his robotic arms. He's got different ways to inflict pain on you. And then of course you don't need to put this tank on the back. You can just put the slush container straight into the armor on his back. So it's also something else you can do. Then you can also take 2 of the robotic arms and just plug it straight into his back. So you just give him 2 arms. You can articulate them up, or put them down, put them lower. So again, just a lot of different things you can do, a lot of different options. And the slush container also comes out like I showed earlier, and you can put, you know, a different head on there. You can put the fat head on there, and then put the arms on there. Now he's like a spider robot thing. That's pretty cool. Of course, you can put this on other characters. I'll just bring out He-Man. I think this will fit on He-Man. It might not. I know his torso is a little bit bulkier than the regular Masterverse figure. So the plastic dome is not going to go over He-Man's head. His hair gets in the way. And then even without the head, doesn't really fit. You can't really strap it in on his back, but it can fit over someone like Sinestro. So that's what that looks like. It looks interesting, and just so you know how it fits on DC Multiverse figures and McFarlane figures. And here's a couple of interesting head swaps that I just thought of. Here's the cartoonish lizard head from Marvel Legends Lizard. With a little bit of work, you could make it fit on there. So if that's something you wanted to do, you can definitely do that. And here's a Mezco snake head, which does fit. That's what that looks like. You could definitely paint this to match the skin tone, and I think that would be pretty sick. It looks really cool. You could fit He-Man's head on there. Maybe he's got like some disease on his skin, or maybe Orko did some magic and he accidentally gave him reptilian skin. And basically any Masterverse head is going to fit on there properly. So this is the clawful head. Of course it fits on there, no problem. Then of course you can put the head on the He-Man body. So that's what that looks like. The same thing for, Sinestro. You just got a different Yellow Lantern look. Here's what the head looks like on Mattel $1 Million Man. So that looks pretty cool. And just real quick, here's what the He-Man head looks on that. Not too bad. Here's what the Fat head looks on the same body. And here's the Ted DiBiase head on the Slush Man body. He's really got that childish glee going on. Then with the armor on, that's pretty terrifying. And then again, any Masterverse head fits on the robotic parts. So you can put He-Man. Maybe they cut He-Man's head off and put it on this thing. Here's a Skeletor head on that same part. Here's the Fat head on the Dragon Star's Master Roshi body. And here he just looks like a deadbeat. I'm going to give him a John Cena hat. Just some stuff that I just made up. You can sort of fit the slush container onto his back like that. And that's just another option, I guess. I just made that up. And like I mentioned earlier, the dome doesn't come off. So if you want to put the slush container on the head, you just have to kind of sit it on the ball joint. Doesn't really go on though. I guess if you wanted to put some tack, you could do that. Now we'll just do some size comparisons. Here he is next to Masterverse He-Man. Here he's next to Skeletor. Skeletor's a bit shorter. McFarlane Toys Sinestro, about the same height. Marvel Legends Black Suit Spider-Man. Of course, he's going to be a lot shorter. Here he is next to Masterverse Clawful. He's a little bit shorter, not by much. Here he is next to Masterverse Beastman. They're about the same height. Surprisingly, Beastman should obviously be bigger. Maybe this guy's also big too, I don't know. Here he is next to Trapjaw. I'm really excited to get the new one that's coming out. I just pre-ordered it today on Big Bad Toy Store. Marvel Legends Mark 1 Iron Man. Here he is next to Grizzlor. About the same height. Grizzlor's a tiny bit shorter. Here he is next to Figma Rin from Laid Back Camp. Here he is next to PW Toys Leon. It's been a while since he showed up in a video. Anyways guys, that's all I gotta say. This is an awesome figure, really fun to play with and mess around with. I'm trying to see if I can remove the dome, see if I can fix that problem, and then trim down the hip area to allow for more articulation. As the figure is, really good, really strong release. Again, Masterverse proving to be one of the best figure lines right now. So really excited to see the new figures that are coming out. Anyways guys, that's all I gotta say. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next one.